Oh, nice at times, though.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Here's John from Providence Mortgage.
Setting up the camera.
Setting up the
I'm
camera.
going to be moving around.
Bear with us, guys.
Wait a minute. Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Just do that again. I wonder if hers can go
Yep, it can.
horizontal.
It can. We're on it right now.
Cool.
Live now, yay!
Yeah, we're live.
Okay. Okay, and I'm seeing everybody in real time.
Yes, you are.
Alright. Those legs are all mangled here. But let's see if that
For
looks
those
good.
of you watching at home,
How's that
that
angle?
is a tripod.
It is a tripod.
Right,
yeah.
It's a fancy device. It's high tech, I'll assure you. How's the angle do you? Am I just a torso or do
No,
you have a
you're
head
good.
too?
No, you're good.
It's delayed though. It's definitely delayed
Okay.
because
Right.
you're talking. So
Should I talk slow? Or backwards maybe? Maybe it'll be interesting.
Oh wait, we have a viewer. Oh, is that Chris?
Yeah, it could be either one of us.
There you go.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Alright, cool. So that worked out good. Lori,
All right.
you gotta use your phone moving forward.
That's fine.
All right.
See, now Chris is going to appear minutes later.
Oh, look at that. Isn't that funny?
There we go.
There
We
it
could
is.
probably do some cool stuff
What's
with
going on,
this.
guys?
You know what?
Hey, we actually have.
Let's get you in a little bit more, bro.
all
Don't
right.
touch
now
anything.
Now you're gonna wait a couple
We
minutes. right?
literally just got this going. So.
Yep.
Okay. Look at there's John touching it. All right.
There you go.
So
Beautiful.
go.
Okay, we're good. All right, I gotta keep myself from looking over there.
Okay, I'll turn so you can't see it.
Beautiful. Even better. Good idea.
Chris, did you just log out?
Nope.
Okay, there was 2 people. Now there's nobody. Now there's 1.
Could be you and
Did we already offend somebody?
possibly.
You could be.
We're making friends. All right.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Making
We're on.
friends, influencing people.
And now they're gone again. That is so weird that it's so.
Let's
fucking
run through it. We
delayed.
can record it and we'll
absolutely.
take a look at it.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
If nobody watches it, it is what it is.
All right, guys. We are waiting for people to sign in here. We were a few minutes late, but looks like we have some action going here. This is John from Providence Mortgage. Chris with Caldwell Banker. We've done a lot of these seminars. And Laurie.
We got Lori on the computer to our right.
Laura's playing Vanna White today. She's going to be reading
Yep.
off any
Right.
questions you guys have in the comment section. But John and I have done these before in the past with face-to-face interaction with people, but we kind of wanted to broaden the scope here and see if we could make it easier on you guys. You don't have to dedicate a couple hours. We're going to do these pretty much once a week, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever you guys need, and answer your questions as we go along.
First time home buyer seminar in your pajamas coming at you. That's the beauty of it because it's difficult. Everybody values their time. It's tough to get out. So we understand that. I think the main goal here is to educate people on their terms, you know, because everybody has a different level of knowledge. So we want to make sure that, you know, you can pick and choose which is relevant to you. So that's the main goal and scope of the program. And hopefully you get something out of it with us.
And that's a big thing. You know, there's different loan programs out there. There's different down payment amounts. There's a lot of things that may not be relevant to you. And if we take a one-size-fits-all approach to the class, then, you know, you're going to be sitting there wasting your time. And, you know, we can talk about this stuff all day.
We do.
A little
In
too
fact.
much sometimes. But, you know, we're going to try to break it down into small chunks. You know, maybe cover the USDA loan one time, FHA loan another time. Home inspection. We'll have a home inspector sitting in on this and answering some questions for you on that. The appraisal process, things that, you know, you may never give a thought to, and maybe you're not interested in even knowing about it. So you just don't tune in those. But we're going to record these so you can play them back later. Hopefully you get something out of it. And obviously, you know, there's going to be some value for you.
Sure. And I think a big part of it too, again, being able to pick and choose which one. We're going to post an itinerary. You know, the plan is every Tuesday around 6:30. We're going to start these up. Should be 15, 20 minutes in length, but we welcome longer. If you have questions, you know, fire them at us. That's what this is all about. It's interactive. You know, using technology as an advantage. So, with that said, don't be shy. Ask questions. But we're going to post an itinerary and show you the different things that we're going to be doing, so you can tune in when it's relevant to you. And I think that's important. So.
Well, I think the biggest thing is, you know, everybody always starts off with, you know, where do you begin? And how do you start this process? You know, you're here, you're watching, means obviously you want to buy a house, sell a house, or both. And so you want to know, where do you start? And there's sort of two different things that we start with. You know, one is in John's lane, one is in my lane. You know, and mine is a real simple one. You know, it's basically a disclosure. You have to decide how I work for you. You know, so I can work for you as a buyer's agent, I can work for you as a seller's agent, or I can actually do both. You know, so a lot of people get caught by surprise on their first home showing. They go out and they realize, you know, gee, I'm sticking a form in their face. There's a required form from Massachusetts that basically tells you in writing who I work for and who I represent. And the reason that that's so important is you have to understand that there's things that I can say and can't say. And when I work for you as a buyer's agent, I have your best interest. You know, I always try to do that anyway, but that actually is the contract, so to speak. You know, me representing you in the best of my abilities. The good news about that is, you know, you're not tied to work with me as a realtor. It just basically means that you know I have your best interest and I can't share your information with other people. You know,
And it's important to know the role too. Know what position he's taking for you and how he's representing you. And I think that's important to get it out there sooner rather than later.
Absolutely.
It's required, but even if it weren't, I think it's a nice approach with it. You know,
Yeah,
it's very
absolutely.
transparent, so.
You know, so I mean, that's pretty much, you know, for where I come from as a realtor, that's the very first thing you're going to get from me. And you know, showings, I can take people on showings all day long, do it day in, day out. Love to do it. Love to see the houses. You know, so there's no time ever wasted in that. But at the same time, how do we know you're ready until you actually talk to someone like John? And that's what John's here for right now.
Yeah, and the biggest part is affordability, and I think one of the lessons that's hard learned is when people just walk out and they go to open houses, which is fine. It's okay to go out, and we use the term kick tires. It's okay to go and check out a home that's in the neighborhood that you've been dying to see. That's absolutely fine. However, you want to be cautious that you're not looking at the home that ultimately is outside of your budget. One thing that I'm going to constantly stress, not only in these seminars, but over and over to my clients, is buy within your means. It's all about budget, okay? And we all want shiny and pretty things, but I think at the end of the day, we want to focus on what we can comfortably afford so we still can continue to live the lifestyle that we have, which is ultimately extremely important. And knowing what's right and what's wrong in this process can save you a lot of heartache and a lot of trouble as well. So to put it simply, we're not splitting atoms. Everybody, I mean, let's face it, this is the largest financial decision of your life. It's extremely important, and trust that we take great care when doing so. But I think there's a stigma out there where mortgage financing is so complicated, I'm never going to be able to qualify for a loan, or I'm never going to be able to do this on my own. So first off, you certainly don't have to do it on your own. If you have the right person guiding you through, your realtor and your lender, you're in terrific hands. You have to use them as resources. But really, we're not splitting atoms. This is an open heart surgery. Anything as complicated as you might think. It really comes down to three core qualifying criteria. It has to be income. You have to have the ability to be able to repay the loan. Kind of goes without saying. You need a job to be able to borrow money. It comes down to your assets. Now, there's a slew of different programs which we'll be happy to discuss in the coming weeks. Some of which, especially for first-time home buyers, you don't need any assets or you don't need a down payment. But that being said, the more skin you put in the game, or the more of your own money you use, the better the loan program that might be available, or the loan product that you can acquire. And finally, the third thing is your credit worthiness. Your credit report and score is a good picture for us to understand what type of borrower you will be. You know, how responsible you are with not only, you know, your future payments, but also your previous as well. So if you really simplify it, three core criteria: income, assets, credit worthiness. Talking to a lender is really simple. You know, I prefer to do it however my clients, it's a matter of preference. We can do it over the phone, in person, or also online if you prefer that means. But simply all you're doing is sharing that information so I can put it all together and make sure that you meet the criteria. From there, it's really pretty simple. I mean, once we have a good idea of what you can comfortably afford, because I think the biggest part of it, and I want to pass the torch to Chris in a moment, I think the biggest part of my application process is, and probably forever will be, the beginning when we talk about what your goals and objectives are. Because at the end of the day, if I don't know what you're trying to do, are trying to accomplish, there's no way I'm going to be able to put a product together that's going to meet your specific needs. Because really, every borrower is unique, their situation, their goals, their objectives are different from one person to the other. But once we go through that process, you're able to go out there with a heck of a lot more knowledge and with that confidence, so that you're not going out and looking at the home that might not be within your means or set you up for potential disappointment. And communication is key. Working with somebody that both the lender and realtor have a track record with and are able to communicate with one another is really paramount as well. I know Chris and I and Lori, we've all worked together and worked really well. We're very cohesive, and you really can't put a value on that. And what I mean is, ultimately, we have to be able to know what one another's doing. Chris uses the term "stay within your lane,"
Stay in
and
your lane.
we do have our own lane. I mean, anything that has to do with the real estate aspect of it, the property, the transaction, the terms of sale, that's Chris's lane. He's the best at it, and he's going to be able to tell you yes or no, or good or bad. When it comes to the financing aspect of it, things like your income, assets, and credit, you want to defer your questions to me. That being said, we work as a team. Our industries are joined together. So many times Chris can field your questions that are a little bit into my lane and me into his, but we always joke, we don't want to cross over. No intersections in our lanes.
Absolutely.
So when I pass it over to you, I mean, what happens from that point when...
Well, I mean, one thing I want to say, well, first of all, let me give a shout out to Lisa. My cousin Lisa's watching
Hey,
right
Lisa.
now.
Lisa, hi Lisa.
No, what I wanted to say is, there's a stigma. You use the word stigma, and very often people think that the realtor doesn't want to work with them, doesn't want to help them unless they have that pre-approval. And nothing could be farther from the truth. It's really a matter of protecting you from the heartbreak. Why go out and see a house that you fall in love with and everything else? Hi, Lisa. Everything else gets compared to. If it's not something that's within your means, or if it's something that, quite frankly, John will say it all the time, and I'm stealing some of his thunder here, but you always qualify for more than you're actually comfortable buying. So
people.
Knowing where that really lies is probably one of the most important things. So as much as people want to think that it's, this person didn't want to show me a house because I didn't have a pre-approval ready. No, it's market conditions. There's a lot of things that are driving that, and we're actually looking out for you and protecting you by kind of, pushing you in that direction and making sure that you're ready to go. If this year is anything like they're predicting, or if it's anything at all like last year, I mean, I saw 60 buyers at one open house. Mm-hmm. And if you're waiting 2-3 days for a pre-approval, or you aren't actually ready, or if there's something in your credit that John can help you work on and actually have you 100% ready to go, you don't want to fall in love, you don't want to write an offer on something that you actually can't obtain. So it really is protecting you, and it's really just keeping you on track, because there's a lot of things that can sidetrack you here. There's a lot of things that can get you discouraged. Mm-hmm. And the more we can do to minimize that, the more important, and I think the easier the process goes.
Yeah, and the two valid points that you mentioned a second ago, number one is the market conditions right now and how competitive it is. And it's really important to make sure that you're prepared, because you never know when you walk into that open house or you walk into that showing, that might be the one. So you certainly want to make sure that you're in a position to make an offer quickly when you want to. But in the same breath, I want to stress the importance of making sure you're not rushing into it. One of the things that I will say over and over again is this is one of the biggest financial decisions of your life. You want to be as prepared as you possibly can. I sent an email out to my pre-approved buyers that I've been working with, some of them for as little as a few weeks, some of them for months. And it was an analogy on the New England Patriots. We all saw the game this weekend. Unbelievable. We're all still in shock. But, it's not a coincidence why the Patriots are such a competitive team every year. And I think if you were to put one word on it, I think it's preparation. They are arguably the best team in the NFL when it comes to preparing and game planning. And you should feel the same way when it comes to the biggest financial decision of your life. And ultimately, to Chris's second point that was really relevant is prepare. Get yourself in a position. It's never too early to speak to somebody like myself or Chris. to see what we're working with. Because even if you think you're the best borrower and you have a fantastic job and a ton of money in the bank and outstanding credit, well, 9 times out of 10, I'm sure there's something that we could inform you of to prepare you for your future purchase, or maybe even there's something that we could do to make you an even better borrower so you get the best possible terms.
Plus, they don't know if they're looking in the right purchase price.
Well, that's the key.
Right.
I mean,
It
it's
could
it's heartbreaking. I mean, if nobody's going to go to the dealership and road test a Ferrari if they can only afford a Volvo, right? And how disappointing would that be when you get behind that Ferrari and you road test it, and then all of a sudden you get behind, the old Chevy or something along those lines. So I think that's kind of the message with finding out your purchase power. Again, it's not a proven statistic. It's a John Farrier statistic, but 9 out of 10 borrowers do qualify, and this is just based on experience. I do it every day, guys. 9 out of 10 qualify for more than they can comfortably afford. And finding your comfortable afford is really the key to your success.
Yeah, and one thing too about comfort, just to kind of throw it out there, because I've had a lot of people recently that are talking to me about the payment that they're seeing on some of these popular websites. Some of the ones we won't mention anything, Zillow, and they're out there and they're looking at their purchase price, and what they're not including in there is your taxes, is your insurance, and quite frankly, you're guessing at your interest rate if you don't actually sit down and get a pre-qual. So how do you even know what you're really looking at? And that can be significant. That can be a $500 or $600 a month difference. So you see people that are looking and they're saying, well, gee, this website told me my payment was going to be $950.
Yeah.
And then you actually sit down and look at it, and it's $1,500, $1,600 because of those other factors. PMI. I mean, there's all kinds of different
and that's
things.
the biggest one. A lot of websites are starting to show taxes because that's public information.
Sure.
But you need to understand that every home needs to have a homeowner's insurance policy. Oftentimes you won't find that in there. And moreover, mortgage insurance, which we will have a separate category on discussing
Absolutely.
what exactly that is. But that's a requirement for somebody that puts less than 20% down. And let's face it, the vast majority of new homeowners or new home buyers are not putting 20% down. So it's really important that you, again, based on your budget, understand all of the costs associated with it. And some of those websites are great. They're a great tool to go out there and poke around and maybe get your feet wet. But, when you want real answers, you want to speak to somebody that's in your neighborhood or somebody that's in your neck of the woods and knows your specific situation so that they can give you the exact answer.
But an important takeaway there is, that you have to understand the days of 20% down really don't exist anymore. There's so many options now. So if you're a first-time buyer and you feel like it's never going to happen for you, 0% down, 3% down, 3.5% down. Those are all real statistics. Those are real loan programs that are out there. The last year, I believe the average was 6 to 11% down for now.
I think, chime in on with a mortgage-related, aspect of that. I think a big reason for that is the fact that interest rates are so low and competitive right now. People are leveraging their money. Ultimately, they have the ability to get into one of these lower down payment programs and maybe take the money that they might have used to reach that 20% and invest it into something, or perhaps save it as reserves so you can do upgrades to your new asset, which is your home, and build up on the value of it. So it's a great climate right now. Not only with the housing market, which Chris and Lori can certainly speak to it at length, but from a mortgage industry or mortgage climate right now is tremendous. It's still good, and something to take advantage of or consider taking advantage of.
So the purpose of today's session is really just vague and just to kind of give you an introduction to what we're trying to accomplish here.
Well, we're getting our feet wet too, but mind you.
Absolutely.
If you couldn't tell already.
Absolutely. By the way, hi Kim, hi Vin. So essentially what we want you guys to know is that we're here. We'll come to you in any format that's possible. I mean, if you guys like this and you want to ask some questions right now, go right ahead. We're opening up the floor. If this is something that you get value in, drop us a note, an email, text message, smoke signal, whatever it is. Just let us know that you find value in this, and we're going to do it every week. And hopefully you're there every week. If you're not, we're still going to do it.
Right? We're going to do it anyways.
We're going to be sitting there talking to a phone. So
wouldn't be the first time, trust me. But that being said, I think the main objective is to bring value. You know, as simple and maybe even cheesy as that sounds, guys, we do this every day. We speak to consumers every day, and you know, there's just so many more that we could reach, and I think this is the perfect medium for us to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and you can come and go as you please, and hopefully you do find some value out of
Absolutely.
what we talk about.
So, you know, we're going to definitely ask you if you're in the market, you know, please tune into these. If you're not and you know someone who is, share it with them. I mean, the best part about this is it's no pressure.
Right.
I mean, you're not locked in our office. We are,
Yeah.
but you're not locked in our office.
locked.
You know, so we're just going to keep coming to you every week and give you the options of finding out the things that you don't know.
Yeah.
And, you know, the biggest saying is you never know what you don't know. So hopefully each week you're going to learn a little something, and, you know, it'll actually make you a better buyer in the end.
That's the goal.
I'm waiting to see if there's any questions coming in
Yeah,
here.
no, that's fine. I can keep talking. I can
course
keep
you
going
can.
on for hours.
Oh, yes, you can.
But no, you know,
We're salespeople.
that's what we do. That's what we do. No, I think the key in having some structure in it is going to be really important too. So you have that freedom to be able to tune in when you want to. But you had made mention to something that instantly made me think about. Well, I think believe you had said no pressure, and that's something where it's important for you to understand as the consumer, whether the people that are watching now are people that are in the market right now to buy a home. You got to understand as the consumer, you're always in the driver's seat. And what I mean by that is that you're building your team, you know, and while Chris, Lori, and myself all work very well together, you do what's comfortable for you. And you find the right person, the person that you feel as though is going to be an advocate for you. And you might have friends, or you might have people out there that are buying a home. They might already be months into it and totally content with who they're working with. And we invite them to come along as well. Because at the end of the day, if they get something out of it and it makes their process better, well, more power to them. So, you know, don't feel as though, oh, my friend's buying a home, but she's already working with somebody. No, absolutely share, and you know,
Please.
we love an audience. I think that goes
Absolutely.
without saying. So
Yeah,
anybody
it's-
you know that wants to chime in, and we'll get, we're gonna oil the machine and get better each time too.
Yeah.
You know, this is our first one ironing out.
And quite frankly, it'll be more fun for us
It
if
will.
there's more questions coming in. And,
Yep.
you know, I mean, again, it's just going to make it a lot more open forum, a lot more friendly. You know, and I'm looking forward to what this can do. And I see some questions came in, and Laurie's over there typing away, answering them. So,
That's nice. And you know, I wonder too, and this is me being a little bit naive with Facebook Live, but we can respond to some of those questions too,
Absolutely.
right? So you're typing through and responding that way, right?
Only because it was a question about
The
how
schedule.
often are we doing these.
Okay, cool.
So I
Excellent.
figured that was one that didn't need
No,
to-
that's perfect. I didn't know how we were going to handle that, but and it is key. I mean, feel free to chime in. And we will not. I don't think anybody knows who's asking the question, so it's completely anonymous too, which I think is important. You can ask any question you want that has to do with the process of buying a home or selling a home, and feel comfortable doing it. So it's not like you're sitting in a classroom and you're raising your hand like this because you don't want to be the person that speaks out. This is your soapbox. This is your opportunity to get up there and ask any questions that you want to. So please feel free to do so.
All right.
all right, guys. Well, look for a schedule of topics that will
We're
be
gonna
posted
post
by
it.
the end of this week. So we're gonna, circle back, and if there's any questions that you guys might have along the way, I know people are asking when we're doing this, and that means there's got to be a little bit of interest out there. So
Thank
if
you.
there's topics you want us to bump to the top of the list,
Yeah.
we're happy to do it. There's an order to the process that we were probably going to follow and kind of just take it through,
Step by
day one as a buyer and all the way through the appraisal process and all that. So right up to the clear to close.
Yeah.
And we're going to kind of go that order. But if there's something that's really like, on your mind or you want to
Program
know.
specific.
Yeah.
Yep.
Please,
Industry specific.
Don't
what's going on.
hesitate.
Yep.
Drop us
Or
an
if you
email.
just want to go out and start seeing houses.
Or if you want to go see houses,
also-
Do that too.
You guys know how to reach us. I mean, that's the whole thing about this is you've got, thank you, Lisa.
Stop doing that. It's creeping me out.
Oh, it's fine. It's Lisa.
Lisa's awesome.
Lisa's awesome.
She's interactive.
She is. No, but honestly, you guys know how to reach us. And, John is also attached to the Key to the Dream there, so you can find John Farrier there. So, I mean, any questions you guys can one way or another, someone's going to get back to you. So you can Facebook message, text message, call me, 781-354-4381.
Nice.
Whatever you want. So,
Excellent. Well, we appreciate you guys showing up. And, you know, I look forward to future evenings where we're going to cover more topics. And,
Absolutely.
you know, I think an important thing, just, you know, before we tap it off, is where do we work and who do we work for? You know, a lot of these people that are probably signed in right now already know us, but it's important to understand that where we're licensed and where we can work.
Yeah.
I know for my industry, I have to tell you my license number. My NMLS license number is 397424. I'm licensed in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, and can help you in all three of those states. My friends to my left and right have Massachusetts and Rhode Island covered.
Massachusetts
correct?
and Rhode Island, yep.
That's our reach and that's our range.
and the only other thing I will say is this often goes unsaid. You know, Laurie and I do work for Caldwell Banker. There is a real big advantage to a company of that size.
Yeah.
If you have friends, family anywhere in the United States, or for that matter, most of the world,
That's right, you guys
that are
know.
looking, we can get them an agent somewhere, you know, and we can make sure that, you know, we reach out to the broker of that office and make sure that the person we're setting them up with, you know, would do the same kind of job that we would want to do for you.
Good point.
So please, you know, don't hesitate. If you know someone who's looking in Vermont or Texas, I don't care. Send them our way. We're more than happy to do it. And honestly, these seminars will benefit them too.
You bet. You bet. Well, thank you all again for
Thank
joining.
you very much. We'll
We
see
look
you
forward to
guys
seeing you next week.
next Tuesday, 6:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.